So today, we're talking about Hellblade. I was a little late to the game on this one, mainly because I like my physical copies, and by the time I got around to actually saying, okay, I'll try it out, they announced that there was going to be a physical copy, because it was digital only at first. So I waited, and I played it, I loved it, and I recommended it to my friends. However, my friends mentioned that they're not so sure if it's something that they would like. A lot of reasons, because this game focuses on mental illness and schizophrenia. And first off, I'm not an expert in mental illness at all. I was diagnosed with general anxiety disorder, which may be part of the reason I haven't put up a lot of videos, anxiety and all that. Story for a different day, but still, I'm not an expert on mental illness. I'm not qualified to talk about it. So I'm not going to. I'm going to solely talk about the mechanic that's used in the game and whether or not you can play this game without using that mechanic. Because a lot of my friends, they've seen videos, they've watched reviews, they've seen some gameplay footage, and a lot of them say the same thing, that the voices that you hear all throughout the game kind of creep them out and probably would not allow them to complete the game. And I totally get that. You can't be mad for them for that. You can't really help what creeps you out. It's kind of like laughter. If someone falls and you laugh, people might look at you and make snide comments to your direction, but laughter you can't help it. It's an involuntary human reaction. So you can't really get mad at someone if they're like, those voices creep me out, I'm not going to play the game. So my argument is, and the point of this video, which is kind of self-indulgent and is not going to be for everybody, I totally get that, is that this is just a good game. If you take the voices out of the game, it's still really good. And I bet you can still follow the story without them, because the voices, they kind of center on Senua and like her journey, her inner monologue, her, the way that she views herself, her fears, all of that. And it doesn't really impact the plot or storyline of the game, like the journey that she's on, in the basic sense. I'll say that's the most I can probably, the fairest way I can say it, because it's obviously a big part of the game. It obviously impacts the game and it's part of the game's story. But if you were to strip it out, there's still a story there that doesn't revolve around that you can follow and still have fun with. The combat mechanics are still really good. The puzzles are still very good. The exploration, I think, is really awesome. I think they did a really good job just crafting a game, just first and foremost. And then you add in everything else that they were trying to do, the story they were trying to tell about mental illness and schizophrenia, and that just really adds to it. But for my friends and family members that say those voices kind of creep them out, I wanted to prove that it's still a good game if you take those voices out. So that is what we're doing today. We're going to play probably about 15 to 20 minutes of the game without the voices and just see, is it still a good game? And can you follow along? Now, one thing I just remembered is that the intro sequence of this game, where she's kind of canoeing on her little log, it's long. So, sorry, we'll sit through that. I will also minimize the amount that I talk. I will talk a little bit, kind of give my thoughts on certain areas as we do it. I haven't played it yet, so I'm not sure what those thoughts are going to be. But I'll do that, but I'll try to keep the talking to a minimum. So if you've played the game before and you think this would be something interesting to watch, I'll try to make sure you have as much gameplay without me talking as possible. If you haven't played the game, this will still be a great introduction to what the game is like. Just know that the actual game has a lot more to offer. So without further ado, as I like to say sometimes, let's get into it. Welcome to Hellblade without the voices. Now, all I did was turn the voice volume down, and so far it's working. There's no voices, but I wonder if there's any story-dependent stuff that'll still come through. But her inner voice is now essentially turned off. I gotta tell you, it definitely adds a different feel to the game. That is for sure. Because right now you typically have her inner voices, her inner monologue, just kind of going at like full speed. But yeah, it's a lot creepier this way. I like it. It's definitely helping my theory that this game is good without the voices. Like, it's just a good game. It definitely makes it creepier. Yeah, you can hear the thunder, you can hear the background noises a lot better. Which I guess is further proof of what they were trying to highlight with the showcasing the mental illness and how it impacts you. And I forgot how long this intro sequence is. Surely this sequence has to be getting close to being over by now. Yeah, I think it is. Yay, we're off the log. I wonder if the voice volume turned down the lore stones as well. We're about to find out. A little bit of the voices sneak in. I don't know if you can hear that, but I certainly can. No, I guess that makes sense since I turned voices down. Let's go exploring. So without the voices, without the lore stone, there's basically just like no direction. So it kind of turns the game into a, I guess, an exploration style game. I mean, I've played the game before, so I kind of know what to do. But if I hadn't, oh, some voices sneak in. But if I hadn't, man, I bet this would be a cool experience. I mean, it still kind of is. I'm actually still kind of enjoying this, but.
Her dear beloved, Dillian.
Okay, so question answered. The voice slider just turns down her inner voices. So the story-specific dialogue, the stuff you need to hear, which I guess lore stones you don't need to, so fair enough. The stuff you need to hear is still going to come through, which makes sense. It feels like a completely different game there. You know, with the voices, you know, it feels like you have someone with you the entire time, a companion, if you will, the entire time. And this just makes it feel like a true solo adventure. You're alone. I kind of like it. There. Can't hear what it says, but I got it.
Don't kill me. I'm not one of them. I was just hiding. I find I live longer that way. I'll never let the bastards catch me again. Never! Wait. Who are you?
Druth? Is that you?
For my tales of the Northmen, they call me Druth. A liar. An old fool. Druth is my truth. Huh?
It's good to see you again. You kept your vow.
Okay, well that voice is gone.
Tell me your stories again, old friend. I'm listening.
Okay, well that was weird. So that voice was gone. All right. And we are in. Okay, thanks R2. My little desk pal R2 decided he wanted to talk. I don't know if you picked that up on the microphone or not, but he was certainly talkative. Yay, achievement unlocked.
I'll give you what you want. I won't resist anymore. Just give him back.
Here's where I die. But this is a kind of a forced death. See, he's all smoky. Can't get him. But it's cool. Story. Will it though? Will it? So I think that's a good place to stop. It's not too far into the game, but I think it is long enough to kind of get a feel of what this game is like without the voices. So my thoughts, I think the rest of the game is going to be fine. Like, I think I could play through the rest of the game just fine like this, without the inner voices, because you do still get some of them during the story bits, which I think is kind of enough to kind of push the story forward, or just to kind of maybe flesh out her character a little bit, but you don't really get any during exploration or combat. And I think the biggest impact is going to be with combat, because if you haven't played this game before, when you're fighting, if, let's say, an enemy gets behind you or they flank you and they're about to attack, her inner voices are going to alert you to that. It'll say, like, behind you, or block, or dodge, or whatever, or remind you to use your focus, which is something, an ability that you get a little bit later on. It just starts working. And so that can kind of be a bit of a challenge, I would think. But overall, from what I've seen, I think the developers kind of had this in mind, that maybe the voices might creep some people out. For instance, I can't play this game like on our big TV when my wife is home, because she says the voices creep her out. So I typically don't play it because I want to play the game the way that it was designed. However, if some people still want to play the game, but maybe those voices creep them out, I guess they thought of that, and they figured, okay, we'll let the player turn the voice down, but we're still going to give them enough story and enough like environmental storytelling in order to push the player forward and let them kind of see what's going on. And I appreciate that. I think that's done very well. So yeah, if you've never played the game, again, here's just kind of a taste of what it's like, minus kind of like the big aspect, the big purpose, the big game mechanic, which is the voices. If you have played the game before, I hope you enjoyed, watching a little bit of it without the voices, just to kind of see how much the voices either add or detract to the game. And personally, I think in total, the voices absolutely add to the game and add to the experience that the developers were going for. As I mentioned at the very beginning of this video, I am not an expert on mental illness. I am not one to talk about it, and that's not what I want the video to be. Just looking at the game purely as that game mechanic. Can you play the game without them? Can you still make sense of the story and still have a good time playing the game? And I think you can. I really do. I think even with the voices turned down, this is a good game. So good job, Ninja Theory. I really like the game, just full stop. And I think I'm going to continue playing it through on PC now, just as is, with the voices turned off, and have a good time. So if you made it this far into the video, like I said, I knew this video is not going to be for everybody, but if you did make it through, thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you next time. See you later.